Good afternoon from the 4th of July edition of the Hanging Chad Sacred Aluminum Cans Hostage to Diary Report from Germ Central. Shrinkage. When I shrunk the kid being shrunk. Taxidermy trophy time. So I can pay the max and get the men. They want me to hate my genes. They want me to hate my body because it was an offer I couldn't refuse. The Mankato VLC. Because they hate fucking St. Mark so bad. They hate everything. It's like any dope den, they're really hate having to pay for their dope. That's what this is all about. Bait and switch, not paying for any dope. Well, when you look at the virtual reality mutations of the I provide some really, really good junk. I mean, the thing about it is, it's like, you can follow the rule. There's all sorts of loopholes to it. Let's say the holy wine, as you would, loophole or whatever. There's all sorts of it. But today I've got actually a lot of the growing seasons of the witch that is being relegated insignificant in order to, well, it's the lasagna it's the Olive Garden, or whatever. Basically they take me being the body. They want me to hate everything about me. They want me to hate my name. They want me to hate my blood. It's man-made creators. Depression, self-hating, self-loathing, as you would, because I get screwed so bad. Pay for everything to the max, and I get the minimum. That's my great-grandparents' max and minimum. That they want me to hate because it's envy, first of all, and greed, and wrath, and all these sorts of things. So, rather than growing season, I am relegated to germ shrinkage. They think they're making some Levy jewelry here. They're making their own diamonds. They're so damn smart and special. So yeah, that's me. Making some diamonds here, being shrunk in the germ factory. That's why I'm surrounded, covered as you would. Blanket coverage, smothered, strangled. For Jesus! There's always a loophole. These flip-flop spin doctors they cannot be wrong. They're incapable of being wrong because they are gambling with a stolen wallet, and they do not have any money to pay. So they can never, never, ever be wrong. And so it's life or death, always all in to the death. Gambling. That's what's going on. It's that bad of an addiction. So rather than me being outgrowing, it's like I've got one of the most fertile farms in the world, and I'm not allowed to use it because I'm kidnapped. So what happens is the people that have kidnapped me are selling off my land, but they have to keep me small and contained and buried because they figured that it'll be even more valuable. So it's like the Fargo. They shove me into the wood chipper. It's fertilizer. So they're in Fargo. Well, what Fargo was about, it was an insurance fraud scam, which the insurance fraud is the back end of this scam. There's a lot of angles to this scam. Insurance fraud is how they get paid. That's their bonus, the bonus baby insurance fraud, as you would, because they get paid on the back end. They put me in the wood chipper, and they're using my body as fertilizer to make the land even more valuable. But I can't reappear and adjust upon this. A growing season of the witch, as you would. Not only that, I am making magic, and I'm that magic leprechaun, my pot of gold, as you would. So I've got one of the most fertile farms in the world. Not allowed to use it. And we're talking about as the deal of the century here because they bribed everybody to keep me kidnapped. So rather than me being able to say, one little part of my estate and produce kidnap me, and they bribe everyone with perpetual Mardi Gras. I pay the rent. I pay for all the costs. So Louisiana screwed the pooch, royally screwed the pooch, and I pay as a hostage. And then because they were guilty, other people are like, Louisiana never grew up. They're small, little bitty. They're like high schoolers, and they're playing in the NFL, like high schoolers playing in the NFL. So they have no real muscle, and so yeah, all they've got is they just they're that kind of I, I don't even know how you would explain it. So Texas is doing the muscle dirty work, and Georgia is laundering the cash because of the legitimacy. Georgia gambled on laundering the cash rather than do the right thing. They don't like Spike Lee. They did not do the right thing. They decided. See, when those that are guilty have lots of resources. That first, those that are guilty will always look. They have to. That's one of the reasons you'll get into a puritanical state of because there's guilt, there's underlying guilty in the accounting. So they have to wear a front that is perfectly the vanilla ice puritanical clean. So you take the system itself and you make it absolutely perfect, regardless of the underlying flaws and logic that falls out. So yeah, and then you dirty up the victims, and that's one of the reasons I'm kept on this really good boy, short bubble boy leash. And it's back. Also, they love the Godfather because they're untouchables, and they really are. They're the untouchables. So it's that notoriety is. I thought I was getting out, but they pulled me back in. So that's another reason they want the victims guilty in order to justify seizure of the state. So they kind of drag me around with infectious disease. There's several ways of doing it. They shrink me through germs, which I'm surrounded by just little bitty insignificant miniatures, which when I'm worshiping, and then they have to make me pay for the matrix grid that I power by shrinking me because I matter least because of the magic Omega hack. So I am susceptible and vulnerable. Whereas my real body would be very strong against disease, but my hack's body is very weak, and I matter less than anything. So they surround me by the work. That's one of the reasons they keep me in, like an aspen. In order to shrink me, they put me in a commune, which is one of the stupidest things in the history of the world. But hey, I'm their banker. But they're proud, independent, proud. So, the same thing in Savannah and Tybee. They've got me surrounded by things that shrink me down using germs because they want to show how much they really fucking hate me. They really hate me, so the germs are doing the dirty work and killing me. So, yeah, growing season of the witch. Growing season of the witch is. That's just one part of it. I mean, there's so many, my entire estate, my body, as you would. I have to hate my body. So, they got to make me hate everything about me to torture me because they want me to be empathetic to how bad they hate me because they are reliant, because they are proud. They are proud and they refuse to buy it. It's crazy. So, yeah. They want me to go out and do something crazy to try to escape. And then the system is, because of the underlying guilt in the accounting, there's a massive accounting fraud going on. Everybody knows it, but they've got guns. There's a Mexican standoff. You've got guns pointing at everybody's heads. And so the accounting fraud is allowed, which is one of the biggest crimes in the world. So the accounting fraud, the cocabush accounting fraud is allowed. So the system itself, in order to build the armor, must then become puritanical vanilla ice. um, and so they lost control. There's the extortion, the Mexican standoff extortion going on also. That, well, we'll break the story if you don't give us a little bit of leverage. So there's always that leverage going on. And they wanted to prove, using me, that they can, and this is they think they're going to get all saints, or even the Episcopal All Saints Church. They think that they're going to get miracle sainted from burying me in this, while allowing me to utilize the internet to show how dirty and crooked the world really is. While it's worshiping, well, it's this super volcano under Yellowstone. Is what it really is. The Grand Tetons royally screwed up. So the Grand Tetons, they did too much blow. They love their blow. They worship their blow like, that's their god. The Cruel Intentions joke about how um, she had a crucifix. It was really cocaine. That's what the Grand Tetons are all about. That's their Jesus, God Almighty is the cocabush. That's why it is. And so if you're going to do a lot of blow, you got to be able to afford it. So what it is they were like, well, we know we're going to call it the cocabush the cocabush blitzkrieg. So they got to get really, really fat because it costs a lot of money to do a lot of blow. So you've got all these sacred, and if you know what if you can think what a cocabush is, it's a bush that's magic powers. It makes you feel all magic inside, numbs your face like Marvel X-Men um, plastic latex. Um, so yeah, you take these equal, and the cocabush is very, very much like a worshiping a political system machine. You can pull any coca leaf off of there, and then you use gasoline, magic, to convert the coca leaves into blood. Um, so that's what's going on, and they are worshiping the cocabush magic. Jack and the Beanstalk, same thing. You've got these magic beans. What's going on? It's the same principle as Jack and the Beanstalk magic beans. And I just happen to provide the power. They want the maximum, I'm the crack in the cocabush. Huh. Well, see, then you got in a representational system, what's really going on is the problem, it's like the ghetto crackheads are really the representation of the Grand Tetons who are utilizing the crack because they don't want to pay anything for it. Greed is not good in this case. Greed is really bad. Unless the only way greed can be good is if you conquer the world, which is it's a long shot. I mean, eventually you might like Hunter S. Thompson, who is Mr. America here because of all the drugs that are used. Virtual reality. That's what you've got to look at. They take this magic blood, which I provide, and it's the same thing as with my estate. And then they break it into different variations of mind-altering substance. Controlled mind. I'm the controlled substance, mind-altering substance. So they use my body and then break it down into all these variables or it's like I said before, you've got duality. It's from Full Metal Jacket. The duality of the matrix, grid, electrics, persona, and then you've got your body. My reality, my body is fed to the grid to power, given superpowers. So then but it's the same thing as my estate. So they're sectioning off for various mind-altering, they're creating various mind-altering chemicals and substances within my body, within my estate. So I'm not allowed, it's like the LSU is an A&M school, I am not allowed to grow anything. The agriculture is now it's all mechanical. You've got a bunch of machines that are growing in lieu of lube, but they still are underlying. They're too proud because we were beat to a bloody pulp and dragged around and infected. And we're not allowed. We have to be respectful of the discovery. They're trying to teach us empathy and respect. like having a, it's really, really bizarre. So instead of using quartz, we're going to use diamonds to teach a class. That's the cost analysis of what's going on. So yeah, instead of using some quartz, we're using real big diamonds for public school education, teaching tools. And, well, it goes back to like Congo. They're using the diamonds and the communication. It's these lasers that communicate these communications because of the superpower within the genetics of the diamonds themselves. So there's so many industries that are dividing up among me. And I have used, well, there's the legal aspects and the illegal aspects. But the legal aspects worship the illegal aspects over me. That's where you get into the toxic debt. 100% tax I pay. Now, I don't pay 50%. I pay 100% taxes because everything, anything goes, anything's legal. Nothing is, everything is sacred in the cocabush world. It is. That's the whole premise of a cocabush. You pull any leaf off, and it's magic. It's the Magic Kingdom cocabush leaves. So you've got, and then you've got to pay for this. But it takes a lot of cash to run this kind of cocabush matrix. And so you got to produce a lot of cash. Let me see what I got a bunch of notes today. It's the magic equality of plucking anything up. That goes into the whole American Idol, the voice. Well, they justify the rank. So they take all of these people and they bury me at the bottom. And I provide women, I provide liquor, booze, I provide drugs, I provide junk, I provide luxury goods. But everyone matters more than me, so they worship all the products over me. But those that are then using the products are not managing the estate. So it's a good fellow fire sale. They're just, they want to burn down the building so they don't have to pay for this goods. So basically, they went through and had a sweepstakes, spending spree, buffet, party monster, binge, everything. Whorehouse and for free on me. And now they're trying to burn down the house, and then they're just going to keep all the stuff they got, and they're going to keep, and they think all the food we ate then will make us mad. Then we digest it. That's how they're going to do it. So they burn it. It's a good fellow fire sale. So they're just going to burn down the house to dine and dash. And I happen to be the house. Or they're keeping me contained. They're going to try to maximize the value. So growing season. I am missed the prime years of doing it. I could be out with having some sort of campaign or something, doing something. But instead, I'm in one of the worst possible scenarios. I'm poisoned by a bunch of old trash, basically. And then the bullies threw me in the old trash. But basically, I'm being shrunk by being stuck in the dumpster for the Savannah bullies who were picking or stole my lunch money and stole my sister. Well, my sister is the access. She's a diamond drill bit in my family, so they had to chop down my family tree to prove who was the varsity and pro lumberjack. There's even a joke bottle that's right outside my door about keeping Memphis beautiful. An old Coca-Cola bottle. Coca-Cola is their God Almighty for this scam. See, it's always these halo attachments. Coca-Cola, big power. So they bribed Coca-Cola by making Coca-Cola the HFCS super power. So they hooked it into it. So it's not a cocabush, it's HFCS. That's the whole balance. But in actuality, it's magic. When you look at the globe, Southern Europe is bankrupt. What's that tell you? Southern Europe is bankrupt. Southern Europe is one of my partners, and they are bankrupt. What does that tell you about, is it a cocabush or is it HFCS? It's an act of war is what it is, truly. So Southern Europe is bankrupt. Good buying opportunity for all the sacred indie livestock to go get them some summer homes because they're all sacred brothers and sisters of the cocabush. That's what's going on. So it gives them the opportunity to go buy up some property. It goes back to the sacred aristocracy out of their league. So they had to kill Europe, which is going to create a workers' revolution globally, and will end up coming back to bite them. I have a feeling. I warned them. They are desperate gamblers that are addicted. So one of the few decent ideas I had was working at the Ben and Jerry's. It goes back to that. That was actually growing some, but the problem was I was still being sharecropped. This goes into several. I'm trying to let people understand. I am an interpreter. I'm like a medium, like a radio medium. I speak what I see as far as because it processes. I'm the processor, and I feel it, and then I speak it because I feel that it is unjust, and I do not. If I process it, then there's certain liabilities. That's where the insurance back end comes in. When they use my family as the processors, then there's liability. So if it's I process it, then I might pay. It's double dipping. I pay on the back end also because it's illegal. So I have to pay for the legal and pay for the illegal through the insurance fraud. That's the insurance fraud of it. Because I process, I'm the medium, as you would, the factory, the slave factory, and I'm a reverent sweatshop. So the more I smell, praise Jesus, even though Jesus is a cocabush. Literally, they're worshiping the magic cocabush matrix, which I power. And they're all above the principles of the church. They're dancing between sides. They don't, they play all the angles because they're all infallible. It's where you get into their field of dreams. Back to that sacred almighty HFCS, Cornell. You get into, that's a perfect indicator. It's taking corn and valuing it all. All the corn is valued like Cornell degrees, which is so every degree in America is like a Cornell degree based on high fructose corn syrup. That's the principle logic of what's going on. And I'm not against the manufacturing. My problem is you way overspent, and I am getting screwed. It's insurance fraud. Is the overspending. So the overspending is covering the insurance fraud. So yeah, they want me to torture, and they're celebrating right now. Right now is a party because they're celebrating wasting my life, ruining my life. They pitched a no-hitter against the Giants, and they're celebrating because they've wasted my life. But they have to kill me. They literally they can never let me go. They don't think. Or they have to get so big because they're all such sacred fraud posers, they have to get so big that they don't have to pay anything. And that's why you've got their god is the cocabush, really. It truly, truly is. Or the Smurfberry mushroom, Smurfberry forest. That's what we call it. So they have to play all the sides and all, because every one of the sacred brothers and sisters that are bleeding me dry, I'm at the least. So like I said, that's your double dipping crooked math. Rather than 1x equals a million, you've got a Trojan horse in the 1x. So you've got a million within the 1x who are all acting using the same rank. They're even amplifying the 1x ranks to have more ranks to equal. So it's really 1 million x equals exponential. It gets into the exponents of the, so it's 1x exponent, depending on how many are within the Trojan horse. That's where your exponents. That's the exponent Trojan horse value. So that all these sacred brothers and sisters who outrank me but don't manage the estate because they don't, in reality, they realize they're frauds, and so they hate their source of their power. So they figure, hell with it, we'll just destroy it. That's where you get into the Goodfellow fire sale. So they're just burning down the house. which happens to be Southern Europe. And they're going to chop Latin America, turn it into a big trash. Latin America is going to be one big trash heap. Landfill, because they need, they're desperate. Rather than turning it into a garden, they're going to put a trash heap in there. So Latin America, for your sacred almighty gods, poser frauds, the brothers and sisters who don't manage the state, who let, they're jealous. They're envy. That's why Miss USA Nevada. They're envious over the power that I have. So they're going to burn down the house. Burning down the house like the Alpha Betas and Revenge of the Nerds, the Trilands. So they're burning down the house. I'm not allowed to manage the estate. I am forced to teach lessons. And they try to justify the scholarships I provide by teaching lessons, which are the math and the lessons do not add up. You cannot just, so they wasted, rather than working the farm, they've got me teaching in a public school. So the farm is just getting massacred, pillaged. Or actually, you got a bunch of poser nobodies that are coming in and sectioning off, like the Oklahoma Sooners. They stole my glass of champagne. There are a bunch of claim jumpers that are in their Wayne's World that are, they've gone out on my farm and they're growing their own crops. Like I said, some of it's controlled substance and it's magic dirt. Magic Kingdom farm. So, but they're not paying zero. It's a good fellow fire sale. They're paying zilch. They're paying nothing. So they are. They got me sitting in the public school as a lynch mob, a scarecrow to protect the illegal claim jumper farms. And it's all based upon worshiping the system. But you can't justify it because it's all based upon I'm being stalked, I'm kidnapped, first of all, Bubble Boy. They want me, they've got all these rules of escape from out, these Al Capone, Capital One. It's varsity, that's in Virginia, that's a V, that outranks me. So I can't use my own name, Mark's Capital. So Capital One is above me, so I'm not able to use my name. So I gotta be empathetic to their Game Boy plight, which is teaching lessons. So rather than working the farm, I've wasted the prime of my life teaching lessons to the public school. They've got, the public school is like, it's, the Jules Verne is one of the best restaurants in the world in the Eiffel Tower. JV, they want better. School lunches are better than the Jules Verne and the Eiffel Tower. And I pay. I pay for those, I mean, just the best meal. And that's why Southern Europe's bankrupt, because the damn school lunches are sacred gods of the cocabush. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Are you stupid? Yes, obviously. But hey, you bribe enough people, you can get away with murder. Yeah, so many layers are on the plantation, way overboard to bleed me dry, and they play all the angles. I mean, on one side, you got the chemistry set, you got the fuels, you've got a bunch of people that aren't, and I'm not talking about cash, I'm talking about control of a bank. But it's like Louisiana fought to be playboys. Sportsman's paradise, duck hunter, playboy. They sabotaged the bank to the degree because they wanted to be independent proud, which was committing suicide because it showed who they really were, shrinking. So rather than allowing me to control, like I could have built a global trade empire if they would have allowed me to build a bank. So I could have taken their assets and using them as the credibility, validation, I could have built economic bridges to Southern Europe. Instead, Southern Europe's bankrupt because of all the cocabush habits. And then it's cocabush revenge, it's cocaine revenge, even though the system itself is fueled by the cocabush. So yeah, the Louisiana Indie Sacred Pride, they wanted their trophy kill more than they wanted a bank. So they've got a trophy kill hanging on the wall, but they are unable to manage the estate. So anybody that can come in and take over. And they're trying to play sides. They have no corporate. Louisiana has zero corporate muscle. So you've got states with corporate muscle are coming in and playing the corporate muscle side. So Texas is walking in the Lake Chuck, Kuwait invasion of back door, and the Achilles heel. And you got New York, you got Hollywood, but the problem is the system's going puritanical vanilla ice. So the individuals of the grid are fighting. It's just crazy. It's going to get a lot worse. I promise you, it has to get a lot worse. The more the individuals are empowered, the more greedy they're going to become. They do not care about anything except themselves and world domination. So yeah, no, I was not allowed and they didn't just kill me. They had to take it the secret dungeon buried the truth. They hid the light. They built this dome around me, and then they used my energy, and the pimp sold off the energy. So yeah, they had to brainwash my entire family. Because my family has a lot of credibility. I've got an aunt who was lifetime worker. See, they got greedy. My family, they just want us to pay and pay and pay. I've got an aunt who is a lifetime at the worker at the Board of Labor. They're addicted to our contributions. They will not let us. Yeah, they want 100%. And I've got another aunt who works for the school board. And then I've got uncles that were lawyers and judges. And, so my family has a lot of credit in the insurance business and the real estate development business. I've got a lot of credibility there. The problem is they don't want us to use it. So they hit us as little bitty. They kept us in like minor leagues. And we're not allowed to go to the majors because we've got to be pious. Even though the piety is committing suicide, so Southern Europe's bankrupt. Who gives a fuck about them? They just free power. Let's go from Mexico. Whoa, free. No, we don't pay a fucking cent. Yeah. So they're depleted. So Southern Europe is bankrupt. Europe is going to implode and die, and there's going to be a workers' revolution in the very near future. But the wealthy are addicted to that cocabush. They love it. They love the cocabush to death. So yeah, the wealthy have some really bad drug issues. It's all that snow on the Grand Tetons. It's free snow, free blow. And the super volcano is turning. They figure they can, but they're drilling into the super volcano, and so the matrix reality of this super volcano. It's like more like Oklahoma. That has had more earth. Oklahoma, because of they're fracking the super volcano. See, it's the crazy cocabush science is you take lava and call it oil because you're magic. It's a magic kingdom. So you take the super volcano lava, which is detrimental, and call it oil. So that's because of the sooner land growth. That's why Oklahoma has had more earthquakes than California since this massive fracking has started. Fracking is basically like chopping a house in half and it's falling apart, and then gutting it, and then taking all the leaving a desolate shell there. Representational nature of it. It doesn't affect most people, but it affects it. We are the biggest contributor. My family was fracked. Trophy wall, taxidermy, fracked. Way back when. We were kidnapped, we were hung on the wall, we were murdered, that's what happened to us. And we were a massive. It would be like fracking. It would be like, and I used this analogy before, Aspen Mountain. Gutting. Aspen Mountain is nothing but a shell dome. And they're trying to call it NORAD, which is the biggest pile of dog shit in the history of the world, because it's for profit. So you're telling me, yeah, they're trying to call it NORAD, but that's bull. So they basically just mined Aspen Mountain, which is this thin shell, painted over. It's gutted completely. That's my family. They didn't pay a fucking cent. They paid off these poser kidnappers to bury our bodies, who never paid a cent either. Free. Magic. Yeah, so the war of slave me between the parent and kids. They've stimulated by me being a failure, and they brainwashed my family to think we're normals. But even though there's all this evidence out there, and nobody's managing the state of Louisiana, which I took upon myself the Excalibur, because I do have the power within me, and I have the credibility to wield Excalibur. Even though then they used me to pull out Excalibur and use the power of Excalibur because I am their slave. So yeah, my parents are forced to play the game, the Trivial Pursuit rat race game. My family, they are forced to play the Trivial Pursuit rat race game. And even though we've been fracked, we have created, most normal families do not create billions of dollars in wealth. My family has generated billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of duck suit dollars. We get nothing. We are literally slaves. So the Jesus freaks are then trying to justify it, because the Jesus freaks really worship the burning cocabush. The burning cocabush, as you would. The eternal flame cocabush on Elba Isle. Liquefied natural gas, liquid assets. What a boy, Mr. D. So then, yeah, we get zero. We are literally slaves. So then we're a sweatshop. That's one of the reasons I'm stuck out. I don't get air conditioning. I ride a bike. I'm the sweatshop reverend. See, that's them playing side, the demon deacons. Even though they do not have the right to play sides because Southern Europe is bankrupt. I know, the USA, they hate fucking Southern Europe. They hate Italy, they hate Spain, they hate Greece, they hate France. Fuck them all. It's just marble steaks for the Hamburglers. Fuck them. Who cares? Even though they are literally using me as a weapon of mass destruction to kill them. Yeah, fuck those Europeans. That's nothing but Sam's Club sacred meat. Fuck them. They don't matter to the cocabush magic kingdom gods. Matrix. Even though the Southern Europe powers the Matrix. Well, in a roundabout way. We just happen to be the magic Matrix key maker. That's why they use me. So they could kill all that right. You can butcher those cows. Holy cow! Holy cow, as you would. Praise Almighty God, the Chicago Cubs hardball. Yeah, fuck you, St. Bart. Fuck you, world, for calling BLM St. Bart's. We're going to kill that motherfucker. So, yeah, they killed him. That's why the BLC, Mankato, Bethany Lutheran, Lex Luthor, Scalpers, or the Marvel Mutant X-Men, are taking over the world for Jesus. For Jesus. Yeah, the cruel intentions. Jesus, cocaine, spoon, magic spoons. So, yeah, they use me to kill Europe. And I gotta hate myself and hate my name and all that sorts of things. Where was I? Yeah. So I wasted the prime rib years of my life, built nothing. So you got a bunch of the Occupy movement who do not allow me to manage the assets because they worship the magic cocabush magic kingdom. They do not allow me to manage the assets that are grown on my land, even though I'm just the Lord of the Flies token scarecrow lord, taxidermy, gutted, shell. So yeah, and they have to transfer value because it's a global estate. The truant Truman. Oh yes. So yeah, we take this, and it once again goes into the justification. It really is an anarchy revolution, but they have to justify it. I was never, like I said, I interpret this, I figured out this all out on my own. I did not have any help at all. Actually, I was hindered, terrifically hindered. I was not allowed internet for many, many, many years. I could have figured this out years ago, but they wanted the revolution to dig, the anarchy revolution to dig deeper. So I was, I could have figured this out. I spent many, many, many years just laying in rooms. I went to the library a lot. I used to spend, I read a lot of books back in the day. But I most of the time couldn't afford cable, or I had basic cable that was in the apartments. And I would just lay there, wasting the prime growing years of my life in these one-bedroom or studio apartments until I would get evicted. That was my cycle. I would dig myself out. I'd find a job, save up enough money, get a one-bedroom or a studio apartment. Then I'd get attacked by the mob, knocked down again. The whipping post dummy boy, tackling dummy for the Almighty God saints, all saints. So yeah, I would get attacked, knocked down, lose my apartment, lose all my stuff. Well, that was back. They got greedy. When I had a car, I could at least keep some stuff. Now, that's one of the reasons is these Dungeons and Dragons, this cocabush matrix. God Almighty, that's that halo effect. They think because what? It was a smart move by the mob. The mob played this Home Alone starved bro. They're bribing politicians to cover for their free games, which I power, the magic I power. So you've got Wizards of the Coast is in Renton, Washington, where there's a chapter, there's Providence Healthcare, which is got the Burbank right across from Walt Disney Land, the Walt Disney headquarters, the Magic Kingdom, magic, miracle. Couldn't make this stuff up. It wasn't true. So yeah, Renton, Washington. There's also a Boeing plant. So that's the Magic Kingdom cocabush bribery. Wizards of the Coast, Dungeons and Dragons, and Pokemon. So they're shrinking me down into a Pokemon. That's the Motherlode Volleyball Bubble Boy. So they use the the worst case scenario Omega. They poison me to shrink me down to be a Pokemon, even though I'm providing billions and billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars of free magic energy. The St. Louis King of France high value. They don't want just normal energy. They want the super juiced magic energy. So yeah, they use that as the justification. So I power these game grids. They got greedy. It was a stupid gamble. So that's how they justify this. That is the method of smart bribery. Is they try to claim it as Boeing or something like that. Even though we're talking about billions and billions and billions and billions. There has got to be a way to measure magic. They're not paying for the magic. It would be like LSD but the virtual reality matrix. They're not paying for the infallibility, the transcends. So what they do is they've got all these Marvel X-Men Matrix creator gods that are their own gods of their own little world, creators themselves, and that I pay for. But the infallibility, that's why they use me. It's the infallibility of St. Louis, King of France. So the infallibility of St. Louis, King of France, that's what they use me for. The Keymaker transcends dream. It makes dreams real. So you got a bunch of nobodies who are using stolen wallets to make their dreams real, and they're calling that freedom, if you would. So freedom is really every man a king, every man gets Louis Roederer Cristal tap water, and everybody gets to eat. The public school lunches are better than the Jules Verne, which is one of the best restaurants in the world. So the Matrix school lunches, we're talking about sacred gods of the cocabush here. Yeah, that's the realistic bank examiner audit interpretation of what's going on with it. See if I got anything else that I can go over here. So yeah, wasted prime. They're partying right now because they pitched a no hitter. They think they get because of the boat. They hijacked. They robbed the boat. They got away with the boat rivage because they've got the casinos in on the deal. They've got the greedy casino, the Planet Hollywood greedy casinos. They think they can. That's the interpretation I got. They bribed the casino owners out of greed to bury the bodies. So the casino owners are actually guilty of the Ocean's 11 robbing the bank. And it all is based upon the transition, the conversion of cash money, the cash money brothers, into plastic chips. That's what it's all based upon, plastics. So yeah, they got greedy also. The casinos, by allowing the mob kidnap, they left me out here. And the same thing with the talent agents. The talent agents wanted to make their super pop plastic idols worth so much more, and that's why they allow me to be kidnapped. And then they desecrate me for the beauty, the global beauty shop, because I matter, and they're trying to cremate me to keep the chip. It's a plastic surgery. That's what I nip tuck. That's me. They basically are using me for this permanent. It's a bling ring. And then they buy a ton of luxury goods. They buy a ton of real estate, which in the material girl Madonna, cash is king, magic accumulation world. So the bling rings use me. They occupy my house and use my charge cards, and they use my expense accounts, house accounts, to justify. And then I've got to be empathetic to their plight, and I've got to teach. And they justify this by teaching lessons, and that's really just bribery. You know, it's like a Richie Rich school. You know, who really wants some nobody to come in and lecture when the public schools could have with Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures? They went through and captured all of history to teach San Dimas High for a lecture, basically, so they could get an A. Basically, Bill and Ted's party on, dudes, be excellent to everyone. That's the same mentality. The Keanu Reeves Matrix, Generation speed. Got to keep up a certain speed or you blow up. That's their addiction, their competitive addiction. Lots of them. Yep. So they're now, and then, all right, I'll go one more piece, 48 minutes here. So you've got, they're trying to, thought crime, previous crime. So the parents, my parents, and the fringe of my parents in Generation X and Generation Y who are having kids, hate their kids because they're greedy. They think, well, this party is going to cost their kids a ton. They have to realize that. But they're trying to justify this is the beauty shot, to justify this party, this Project X marathon party at the country club on me. Yeah, it really is. It's like the Occupy movement, a party that never ended on me. And the wealthy are just having a good time. They think they're in the court being entertained by all the magic pets doing tricks and all the good music and all that dance party USA, dance revolution that I pay for with sore feet. They're sore feet that are getting amputated, but hey, they're infallible. They're never wrong. They got the bionics that they can make them even stronger, even better. Wow, that's pretty darn infallible. Good. So yeah, you've got these kids. They know because of the internet. The psychology of the internet is going to make them even worse. Even though the system is going toward, so the playboy, it's the new kids on the block playboys are going to get to party. Once you've established yourself, so you've got a bunch of the riffraff, if you would, are going to enjoy this. They're the biggest winner out of it. Those that don't, that even though it could get super worse in the future, where everybody's life is put under this scrutiny. You have to defend your life. So only those that are willing to The proletariat, pro-playboys, I guess, is what it's looking at. So those that don't really have anything to lose are going to get to party the best, have the really super, super fun party because they are addicted to this system. So yeah, the future crime for the public schools is what they know they're going to be bad because the internet opens up inhibitions, and so the party's going to be, and plus they're jealous because their kids have all this technology. I pay for that too. So yeah, it's this jealousy that's screwing their kids by keeping the party pedal to the metal, full throttle, redlining while the engine's smoking and spitting sparks. Just keep plugging plugs into the outlet. It's shooting out flames. That's a dragon, Game of Thrones. Infallible, stick the landing. Never wrong. Praise Jesus. Cocabush God forever. That sort of logic. Face is numb. Your heart's racing. You got paranoia because of the underlying guilt because you won't pay your bills. You got hostages, even though they're buried out in the backyard because your dogs are burying them. Crazy. But hey, yeah. So the youth, who I am actually trying to help and save, who do not lift a fucking finger because they are vain. That's the faux joke, faux revage. The vanity that is created through the internet is a very youth-centric. And I've even been empathetic. One thing I've learned is when I live on the internet, I have become a very vain individual. Now, actually, there are certain characteristics of people, criteria to matter that I'm only incorporating. If you have the ability to help me, which is self-centered, but I'm trying to escape. So it's either if you have the ability to help me, then you matter to me, there's a prioritized list that I've created. And if you don't matter, then I don't even make an effort. I'm so shallow because I've been kidnapped so long that my only concern is escape. So if you have the ability to help me, then it's just, if I can see some ability to help me in some capacity, then it's possible. Otherwise, it's not worth it. And these people are vain. So, yeah, I have an excuse. I've literally been tortured and kidnapped for a long, long, long time. So, and I can fix it, but I'm not allowed to. I would like to go in and fix myself, but they want the brain damage that the kidnappers have created to be permanent. They want to screw me up permanent. They hate me so bad. I think it's because I didn't kill myself. So yeah, it's crazy. So now I've got all these bizarre bad logic. Oh well, happy 4th. I'm gonna do nothing. Or beg for some food or something.